Hey everyone, we're going to do a bit ratchet shootout. So these are 1/4 inch bit ratchets. They take any 1/4 inch bit and you can use them in tight spaces where you can't fit a normal screwdriver. So we're going to put these all through a whole bunch of tests, including a torque test. We're going to look at tooth count on these, and we're going to look at the minimum head depth each of them has to see what their clearance looks like. The Weehaw has an awesomely compact case. It's got a couple different rows of bits here. They're in there pretty well, and if they do fall out, they're all clipped together. The Weehaw also comes with a locking bit holder. You can pull this back to release, and it can click in here, or you can put this in an impact driver because these bits are all impact rated, which is super nice. You've got a good selection of bits with Phillips and posi drive on these. You've got square, SAE hex, metric hex, Torx, and a 1/4 inch adapter for using with sockets. And this is an all metal case, and it clips together really well. The Moldwork set is about as bare bones as it gets. These are just 3 pieces of stamped steel riveted together. It's got a 16-tooth, really coarse head. The selection lever on this can actually easily be flipped either way if you've choked up on it, so you've got to hold it back a little bit farther so you don't click that by accident. This is one of the only options that comes with a stubby bit selection, which can be really handy if you're working in a really tight spot. The Titan is the only one of these that comes with a swivel head on it, which can be really useful if you want to use it as a screwdriver that ratchets, and then when you get it down to a higher torque, you can use it as a ratchet. The Titan does only come with 2 bits. Both of these are stubby bits, and you can see they're quite a bit shorter than a regular bit. The Sunx comes with an aluminum and plexiglass case. This foam holds all of the bits in there really well. It does come with a locking bit extension, but you have to pull this back to release and to insert the bits. And you also have a good selection of security Torx, slotted, SAE hex, Phillips, and posi drive. The Gearwrench is the only one with 2 ratchets on both ends. You've got a 60-tooth 1/4 inch ratchet here and a 72-tooth 5/16 inch ratchet here for all of the bigger bits that come with this, as well as the 1/4 inch square adapter for using with the sockets. You've got a good assortment of bits and sockets with this one. These are SAE hex. You've got square, Phillips, slotted, metric, and SAE sockets, and the socket adapter. This case does not have any retention on these, so if it pops open, which it can do, it will spill everything out. The Wear Toolcheck Plus has a ton of storage options, and they're all really easily accessible. It comes with metric or SAE sockets, depending on which version you buy. You flip this up, you've got 2 rows of bits that are really easy to pull out because of this little indexing rotating part right here. You've got security Torx, square drive. These are square plus and hex plus, which doesn't round out fasteners as readily as a regular hex or square drive. You've got several different Phillips bits, a slotted bit, and a socket adapter. You've also got a bonus miniature screwdriver and a locking bit holder up here. So I torque tested all of these with a digital torque converter. It was set to 120 inch-pounds, that's 10 foot-pounds, for each of these to make sure they could hold up to that torque, and all of them surprisingly did. Now, one thing to note, with the shorter ones, these 3 over here, the Wear, the Weehaw, and the Sunx, I actually had trouble getting up to 10 foot-pounds with them, and I had to use 2 hands. These other ones are a little bit longer, and they were actually a little bit easier to get up that high, but really, that's an extreme amount of torque that I don't think you should really be using a 1/4 inch bit ratchet for anyway. If you need more torque than that, you really just need to get a bigger, real 1/4 inch ratchet out, or maybe a 3/8. As far as overall length goes, the Wear and the Weehaw are right around 3.5 inches. The Sunx is at 3 3/4. The Moldwork is at 4 inches. The Titan is at 4 1/8, and the Gearwrench is way up there at 5 1/8. And of course, for length, the trade-off on these is going to be, can you fit it into a smaller area, or do you want to get more torque out of it? As far as tooth count goes, and that's going to dictate how far you have to turn these before you can turn it back and advance your fastener, you've got 90 teeth for the Titan, the Weehaw, and the Sunx are both 72. The Gearwrench is 60 for the 1/4 inch side and 72 for the 5/16 inch side. The Wear is also 60, and the Moldwork is down there at 16. So the angles you have to turn these at are 4, 5, 6, or 22.5. For minimum head depth, the Gearwrench blows everything else away. It is literally the same height as whatever bit you're using will be the head depth. So that's an awesome 1 inch for this one. For the Moldwork, it's just a tiny fraction of an inch higher with this little spot right here, all that's added to the length of the bit. The Wear is next at 1 1/16 of an inch. The Weehaw is about 1 1/8. The Sunx is getting up there at 1 1/4, and then the Titan is up there at a whole 1.5 inches. As far as the direction selection levers go, you turn all of these to the left for advancing the fasteners. The Titan you have to turn to the right, as well as the Mollwerk, which are kind of backwards. For bit retention, the Weehaw and the Mollwerk kind of have a ball detent. The Gearwrench has a ring detent. The Sunx, the Titan, and the Weehaw all have magnets. One really important thing for me for bit ratchets to have is a knurled wheel at the top here that lets you advance a fastener that doesn't have enough drag to activate the ratchet mechanism. So the three on here that have that are the Wera, the Gearwrench, and the Weehaw. So that's a huge time saver when you're running a fastener in. You can turn it, and that gives you a little bit more torque than just spinning the fastener by hand. And if you run into a spot where it's binding a little bit, you can just crank it a little bit and then keep spinning like this instead of having to take the bit ratchet off, back and forth like that. It's super annoying. The Titan kind of makes up for not having a knurled thumb wheel by being able to spin it like this and then just spin the whole thing like a screwdriver if you need to. If you want to hear each of these things ratchet, you can hear how coarse the teeth are in this one. Here's the Gearwrench, the Wera, the Sunx, the Weehaw, and the Titan. Now the Titan sometimes feels a little bit mushy to me with the 90 teeth. I think some of them might have a little bit of trouble being engaged or perfectly formed. The Wera, the Weehaw, and the Gearwrench all have low drag on their ratchets. That means when you're turning a fastener and it's still loose, you can start ratcheting before you can with most of the other ratchets. The Mollwerk, the Sunx, and especially the Titan all seem to have a much higher drag on their ratchet mechanisms, which means running a fastener in, and when you have low torque, they're going to turn it backwards a lot of the time. As far as price point goes, the Mollwerk one comes in the cheapest. If you buy the single regular bit option, it's like around $11. It's $16 with the short bit set. The Gearwrench floats around $15 to $20. I think it's a great option for that price point. The Titan is $20, but it only comes with 2 bits, so I think it's not quite as great of an option as all the others. The Sunx and the Weehaw are both around $30. I think they're great for the price point. For the two of them, though, I definitely go with the Weehaw. The Wera is the most expensive. It comes with a set of sockets, though, and these are very high-quality bits. This one's around $80. You can also buy just the ratchet for about $30. So as far as my recommendations go, this Gearwrench one was the very first bit ratchet I ever bought, and I think it is the best option for a budget bit ratchet. My favorite one for work is the Weehaw. It's super compact, I can use it with an impact driver, and it's got an awesome selection of bits. I think my favorite bit ratchet overall is the Wera Toolcheck Plus. This thing lives in my go bag for my DIY repair options, and I use this all the time in my Bosch FlexiClick as the driver bit set with that. So hopefully this review was helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comment section below, and once again, don't forget to subscribe.